I just want to say thank you all for taking the time to come to my session. I know you had a lot of great choices to choose from, and I really appreciate it. My name is Ginger Fray. I'm an English faculty member and Faculty Senate President here at Lone Star College-Tomball. And so I want to give a shout out to my Lone Star people, as well as all the people that we have joining us, the professionals we have joining us across the country. I'm just so excited that y'all are spending your time with me. So I appreciate that. So we are going to talk about email today. But before we do that, I have a little Mentimeter, which if you were in the last lunch session with Kayla Almagar, we did this as well. So if you don't mind logging on, I've got 15 responses so far. You can use that QR code or just put the code in if you don't want to go through the QR. Sometimes our cameras are broken on our phones if we drop it too many times, speaking from experience. And so just feel free to type whatever you want in there. I really did make this very open-ended on purpose because rudeness means different things to different individuals. So let me switch over to the screen where I'm actually getting to see the responses. And let me see how I do that. Let me do a new share. Okay, here we go. Take you guys out of it. Think this will do it. I think this will do it. Let's see if this, let me shut this down. I mean, I'm talking to myself like the lady in the grocery store. Okay. And I am that lady too. Okay. Yes, I think you're seeing it. Okay. So it looks like we've got a lot of a lack of tone. The tone. Ooh, watch your tone. Being direct and to the point with no fluff. I don't know if you want it that. Oh, that's what makes it rude, being too direct and to the point. Okay. The text is in all caps. Oh, yes. Please don't scream at me. No addressing someone by their name, just putting hi, hello, hey. It's that casualness that's almost too casual. Using words that are harsh or negative. Oh, yes. Once again, we're going to talk about that. Using either positive, negative, or neutral language and how those are different and important. Harsh language, exclamation points. Oh, Lordy, don't get me started. One, pointing out flaws, only pointing out things, being something, ask something in an accusatory tone. You didn't do this, right? Why didn't you do this? The word you use, tone and appearance of ignoring boundaries, short answers, right? Not giving context. That's a rough one. That drives me crazy because then you got to send the other email to get the rest of the information. Getting multiple in a row marked as high importance when they're not. Yeah. No appreciation. Yeah. Just even a quick thank you. The type of words, super long instructions. Oh, Lord. Yes. Paragraphs upon paragraphs. Attachments only. No context. Yes. Oh, and the dot, 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 dot. Yes. What do we mean by all those dots? So great. These are all great responses. Thank you. And we're going to cover all of this. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me get you out of this screen, hit my new share. I think I'm getting this down, y'all. We shall see. Okay. So, all right. So let me get over here and here we go. All right. So the name of this presentation is What You Don't Like Authentic Me, How to Respond Rather Than React to Workplace Emails. And I really do want to give you tips and tricks to not only how to respond rather than react when we receive these rude emails, but also to make sure that we're not sending them because it is a two-way street. So one of the first reactions that some of us might get when we receive a rude email is that we have this great reaction of, no, ma'am, she did not just email me in that tone. No, ma'am. Oh, I'm seeing the claps. You can do thumbs up, claps, reactions all throughout this. And you can also ask questions. Please feel free or even put something in the chat. I want everybody to feel empowered that you are a part of this. All right. Then we have another reaction, possible reaction. This is our stage 2. So we go into the oops, clutching the pearls, and now we're into the oh my gosh, no way, no, 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 no. And for all of my animal lovers out there, it might look a little like this, right? No, we are shaking the head. They did not just do this, honey. So what I want to do is try to help us move from these reactions so that we don't go full on nuclear and send that response in the middle of having these other two reactions, how to take a step back and not automatically send that email that we know that they deserve because they were rude to us. All right, so instead, let's go about this. 3 steps we could do, and this has really, really helped me throughout my 25-year career being an English instructor and also a faculty member. That's to pause, reflect, and then respond. Not go be a keyboard ninja right away and slice and dice. All right. So the first step, pause. Give yourself a second to just stop. Get up from your desk, move around, take a quick walk, eat that chocolate, grab a bag of Skittles, whatever you need to do to get yourself centered so that you don't automatically email them back and let them know who's who. All right. Then the second step, or actually, I wanted to share this great quote, sorry, is to practice the pause. Practice or pause before judging, pause before assuming, pause before accusing, pause whenever you're about to react harshly, and you'll avoid doing and saying things you'll later regret. And I really like this because it's so true, and I'm sure some of us can relate. And please feel free to share scenarios in the chat if you feel vulnerable enough. I would love to hear them because I'm going to share mine. That will allow yourself that pause, and you don't have to do anything yet. You don't even have to think about it yet. Just get up so that you don't do something that you'll regret. Then you're going to want to reflect. How am I feeling right now? Do I have a relationship with this person? What is the real ask of the email? And what might they be going through? And how can I not take their email personally? Right. And I grabbed this because we don't want to deny that we're stressed. Now, obviously, in this scene, the main character, and this is a great show, Insecure on HBO, but she is trying to talk herself that she's not stressed. I think it's better to admit that you are stressed, and whatever that person is asking of you right then, it might not have anything to do with what's in that email. You're just finding something within that email that might be triggering you. Let me share an example. So this week I received, it happened this week, y'all. This week I received an email from somebody, not at my campus, but on a committee I am. There was less than a 24-hour turnaround time that I had to review 4 proposals and then get back. Now, I teach classes, I have meetings to attend. As faculty senate president, I also, work with staff, setting up events, also, preparing for this great event we're having today. All the things, right? Our calendars are chock full. So then when we get that thing, we've got less than 24 hours or a little over 24 hours. And the directions were very, like you say in here, kind of harsh. Like you need to do this, A, B, C, and D, and you got to have these 4 proposals read and rated in a little over the 24 hours. I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that from 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. because I got my son's baseball game and got to hit the grocery store, all the things you start spinning. I had to take a step away, go and reflect and go, okay, this is a really stressful week for me. I am taking this very literal email personally because I feel like I'm being dictated to. And they don't understand how busy I am and that this is a very short turnaround time. And, why don't they know my schedule? Once I did the reflection part, it allowed me not to react. And so this literally happened in the last 24 hours to me. So that's why I wanted to share it with you all, because I can completely commiserate, even though I'm on the faculty side, I can completely commiserate with especially you all that are supporting the faculty and the administrators in our campuses across, the United States. You're given so many things to do at once. When you add that one thing and it's not a please or a thank you, or I know you're busy, that acknowledgement, that can trigger us. So I just wanted to share that with you all. Megan, we got anything going on in the chat I should know about?
No questions, just a few comments and things that other people have experienced. So one person said, I don't know about the Hi, hey, one. I emailed someone once and had never communicated with them before. I used good morning, insert name here, and then I got hit back with, in the future, address me with doctor, first name, last name, with nothing else about the email I sent. So I decided to only send things with good morning, afternoon if I don't know their titles.
Okay, I want to first apologize for all of faculty because that's so silly. I don't know if they were a faculty member or administrator, but that's just silly. And that's totally about them and has nothing to do with you. And I'm sorry that that happened because that's just silliness. And, we're going to get those, right? It's not against the law to be a jerk, and we're going to get those. Uh, we're going to deal with people. I see how you dealt with it. Did I read correctly that from now on, that person just said good morning,
Just
good
gonna use
afternoon,
good
and didn't
morning,
use
good afternoon.
name? Yeah, no, that's great. That's a great tactic. Fine. I won't call you anything. Good morning, good afternoon. But yeah, I don't like those correction email. That should have been a sidebar conversation. That's silly. Is there any other ones?
Yeah, someone else said, I've become overly used to being able to edit messages. I need to remember that you can't edit a message right after if you mistype something or leave something important out.
Okay, and do that. I see, Madison, you posted that. Do you mean edit it and then take it back, like retrieve it? I'm wondering there if you could just click.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead and do you mind speaking on this?
Yeah, well, I realized that with how I communicate and being someone who will always write things and then edit, I've become used to when using Messenger apps. If I write something and realize I didn't type something correctly, I can edit it then, and then by the time the person is being sent to sees it, it's correct. Well, you can't really do that with email the same way.
Right. Right. Good point. And then there's nothing wrong, and I do this all the time. I'm glad you brought this up. There's nothing wrong. I did it yesterday. I emailed the whole faculty. I used go instead of got. Guess what I did? I turned right around and emailed them back and said, okay, I'm the English faculty member here. I'm sorry I didn't catch that. I'm cringing inside and out, and just being vulnerable, that really helps me make up for making those mistakes. So just acknowledging them is great tactic. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Let's see, is there anything else?
A
Um,
few more. I get some emails where they don't even bother. They just type a statement, request, or response, and no, no, thank you. I emailed
yeah, and
once
that's where I guess the Southern gal in me, I will kill them with kindness. My
and
mom taught me that. And so when they will not use please and thank you, I overly use it in my next email to them because we do teach people how to communicate with us. And eventually they might catch on. But like I said, it's not against the law to be a jerk. But as long as you are keeping your side of the street clean and you have that integrity that you have as professionals, then, you can sleep better at night. But just I do believe in teaching people how to communicate with you. So if you do use those, you keep doing that. You keep doing that, and eventually you'd be surprised. They might catch on and realize how you want to be communicated with. So, I always use a greeting. Okay. All right. Anything else so I can move on? I don't want to run out of time because I can do that. All right. Okay. So we've done the reflect part. Let's see. So now there's the response part. Okay. So one of the things, and I'm going to show you a true example of this where I break it down in just a second. The best way to do this, even if you've got that snarky email that you just got, or they're very matter of fact or anything, thank them for taking the time to communicate. Thank you for your email. Emails take time. That counts. Acknowledge and validate their feelings. Okay, so if you can tell that somebody's upset or stressed, I like to go ahead and just say that. I can see this is really important to you. I can see that this is an important matter. Usually that's where the snarkiness or the concern is coming from. It's just an anxiety. They're having to get a task done. They're anxious about it, and they're passing that on to you, those feelings on to you. Right or wrong, That's probably what's happening. So that's why I like to acknowledge and just validate them as human beings. And it kind of gives a little bit of empathy to them as well. Um, and sometimes they just need somebody else to say it. Oh my gosh, you're right. I am so stressed. I am so sorry. I should not have used that tone with you. I know I've had to send those emails or even pick up the phone and call somebody and go, I am so sorry, girl, about that last email. So share your position and then offer a reasonable solution. You don't have to solve a whole bunch of things, but you could say, I can get this back to you soon. I can send you the job aid for that process. Just adding just a little bit more, just adding a little fluff. Like some of you said is missing in emails, maybe you add the little fluff there to help out, even if it's not requested. Okay, so let me give you an example of this. So this is based on an email I received a couple of years ago. And of course, the names have been changed to protect the innocent. So this is what I received. Ginger, I just want you to know that if you do not read my written statement, then I do not feel supported by you or the faculty senate. You know that I can't be in at the meeting. You should just read it for me. Very short and to the point. Now, yes, there were subsequent emails before this, but I had kind of set my boundaries and said, well, I'm sorry, I can't read anything if you're not there. They didn't want to hear that. So then I responded this way, and I'll break this down on, as far as steps to doing this, but I just simply got up, I did my pause, I did my reflection, and now I'm at my response. So I didn't send this right away because I was mad when I got this because it struck a chord. We work really hard in our jobs and it struck a chord. It's like, what do you mean I'm not doing my job? So then here's my response. Hi, George. Thank you for letting me know. I do understand and see that you feel very strongly about this issue. Unfortunately, I do not feel that I can represent one voice for the entire group at the meeting. However, you could have one of your colleagues read the statement or send it out in the group email thread. Ginger, very easy fix. So on the next slide, I actually break this down for the steps that I gave you. There's thank you for communicating. I authenticated his, feelings. I validated his feelings. Then I shared my position. And then I offered a solution. So don't feel that you have to, offer this great grandiose solution. It simply could be as easy as, like I said, sending a job aid, giving them and somebody's email that could help them, whatever it may be. So then I wanted to give you, did anybody have any else they wanted to add or different scenarios they could share before we go to dancing the email tango to make sure you're not sending the rude emails? I'd love to hear some of the feedback. Megan, do we see anything?
And I was going to tell people, feel free to unmute yourself if you want to add something too. Someone said, I always reply with a greeting, how are you today? And then end with thank you. It said it's happened so many times to me where I nicely call them out and they respond profusely apologizing. Someone said, when in doubt, have someone else read it.
Yes. Oh, I do it all the time, right? Am I reading this right? Should I be mad about this? I don't know.
I have one question that seems to come up a lot.
Okay.
And I've been in this position for a year, but I was a school librarian for 35 years. Okay.
Okay.
They know that I'm crunched for time. A lot of times people will say, I need to find the university's travel expense form. I will, because I keep all those things tabbed. I'll say, here's the link, all the info to review, as well as the form is here. Someone will write back and say, I need you to download that form for me and send it to me as an attachment.
Okay.
By the time I do something like that, by the time I write to them and say, please take this on yourself, I could have done the download. I'm just responding to, they're saying urgent, I need this right now. If you have any during this situation, or if someone who has more experience than I do in universities wants to just chime in the chat, I ran into that particularly with one professor a lot. So it's a little thing, Ginger, but the repetition is be my secretary, mine exclusively.
Yes. And Lisa, it's not a little thing. I just want to validate that for you. It's not a little thing. That's taking time away from your work and your tasks that you've got to do because somebody doesn't want to download a form. I'm sorry, it does. So I think you just use exactly what we said back here. Let me see if I can figure out how to get back to my slides and follow the process. You know, I'm sorry, validate. I'm sorry if you have problems. However, they do make it really easy. All you need to do is click here and here and just do that. Real quick, click here and here. But I would keep setting those boundaries.
And I
would set
attended
those
the boundaries this morning. I think dovetailing forget his first name, what that professor said, along with what you said, that could be the synergy I need to propel success with this. So I apologize for taking time out of everyone, but
I wanted you to take time.
I think blending those two valuable sessions today, yours and his, really could create some magic for me.
Oh,
okay,
good. I'm so glad to hear that because yes. And we, people, all of you that are on here, you are taskmasters. You want to just get it done and move on to the next task, right? So you're right. It is easy just to download the form for him and send him the darn form. Absolutely, it is easy. But you're not staying true to your boundaries. You're right. You're not a secretary. You're not. And also, you've got to teach people how to treat you. So by you saying, thanks for letting me know you're having trouble. However, it's much easier if you download it yourself. I know that you're very busy. However, it's easier if you download it yourself because the next time I may not be able to be reached. So it's best that you do this yourself. If you have any problems, you can see your department chair or somebody else. You know what I mean? Give him somebody else's name. So there you go. All right. Okay, let's see. Saw something up here. Just want to say. I love it. My sassy side would say, bruh, come on, man. I know. Okay. What's this one? I had a colleague reply all when providing. Thank you for the information. Moving forward, colleague responded, I am not your manager. And okay. So the thing was, I had a colleague reply all when providing direction, correction, feedback. That's a nice way to say it. I like that. I am not sure if I responded properly, but I said, thank you for the information. Moving forward, can you reply directly rather than reply all? Colleague responded, I'm not your manager and I can respond the way I want. I do have a follow-up question for you, Courtney. Did you do this reply all in your response, or did you do it specifically to that person only? Let me see if she answers. Need a cigarette. No, directly. Okay, great. Okay. That's good. You were modeling the behavior you want, right? You replied directly to him. Yeah, he's not your manager, so why is he giving you feedback then if he's afraid to give you feedback? But he'll do it in front of the crowd, right? So I think you did great. And, once again, you could follow this response process for that. I invalidate I understand that you're not my manager. Thank you for letting me know. However, since we are colleagues, and use that verbiage there, we are colleagues. In order to work together successfully, I think it's better if you speak to me directly. And that's it. And you can always include the tagline, which I know I have a colleague that does this, and I kind of like it. She'll put, I hope you understand at the end. And I like that because that shows that you're hoping for them to see you as another human being and be empathetic to you as a human being and that we understand each other. May not. The person may reject you, but at least you're willing to ask for their understanding. And I really like that, especially when we're having to say no to things that people are asking us to do that's extra that we just know we can't fulfill. So I hope that helps. All right. So let's go back. Let's go look at how if that's it, let's go look at how we can make sure we're not the ones that are being a jerk or too authentic, as the title of my presentation is. So I like the idea of dancing the email tango, especially with people that we may not know as well, that we don't office next to, or we don't correspond with on a daily basis in order to get tasks done. for our different areas. And the first thing you can do, and of course, this is the English teacher coming out in me, so forgive me, please. But the first thing you can do is just figure out who your audience is. I think where a lot of things come up, and even the people that come across jerky to you, it's because they haven't realized their audience. If they're too casual, if they're doing the hey, hi, and they can't even take the time to type your first name, which can be, a little off-putting, then let's just figure out our audience, because you don't want to, even if you're besties, remember, if you're trying to get something done, this is memorialized in a written form, right? So it can be looked at later in time, and you want to make sure that you're a professional in your email, because it's not Messenger. It's a different tool. And then if you're a stranger coworker, not that they're stranger danger, someone you might not have met, or somebody that has a higher rank than you, then you must be professional, but you don't want to be robotic. So I like that Kayla in her previous session talked about using ChatGPT for our different tasks, or any of the other myriad of generative AI tools. But you don't want to come off as robotic. You still want to show little inklings of your human side. And I think that's what that email was lacking that I received earlier this week, that was giving me tasks that triggered me. There just wasn't a human nature to it. I didn't feel like they acknowledged that we were busy, that this was a last minute ask, that it was causing pressure. And because that wasn't noted, then that's why I was like, well, they don't really care about me. This is just somebody trying to get something done, and it's robotic. And, why should I bend over backwards to meet these deadlines? All right. So then you want to consider your tone. So the next thing we want to do is consider our tone. Just like our parents say, don't use that tone with me. And the best way to do this is to use more I statements than you statements. Just like in our relationships, right? If you've ever been to counseling, I believe, I feel, all of that wording. Avoid using slang or text speak. Sometimes I get jargon that I don't know what it is. So if you're emailing somebody in another division and they may not know what a variant is, or a budget code form is, or if it's like BCF and that means budget code form, go ahead and, give them the definition next to them. You're not assuming they're stupid, or there's a lack of, brain power there. It's just simply you're giving them a little grace, so that, and giving them an answer to a question they might have to, or need to go Google. Use neutral language. Positive or neutral would be preferable, not negative, even if it's something that was done wrong and you're needing to correct it. You could say, the challenge is, instead of you didn't fill out this form correctly, the challenge is the form wasn't filled out correctly. See, so then it takes it out of that accusatory you statement. Also, no caps ever. Oh my gosh, cardinal sin, right? Cardinal sin, that's yelling. And don't overuse the exclamation mark. I saw that came up. Then everything's important and we don't know how to prioritize. Plus, to me, it becomes very emotional. It comes across very emotional, like, everything's on fire. Oh my gosh, everything's on fire. And those usually aren't the emails we want to respond to, right? The ones that are everything's a big deal. And then be authentic, be yourself. Let those little things slip out that show that you're you, and read your email aloud. You don't want the other, you don't know how the other person could interpret it. And this is actually something I teach my writing students. And I teach them to sit there and whisper their essay aloud to them as they're writing it. And I do this with emails as well, just so I can hear it, because what will happen is our eyes will correct things on our screen, but our ears will catch it and we'll stumble over it. So, oh, I just saw something pop up in the chat. I have a tendency to always use we and put a mistake on both parties, or I'll just take blame because I don't like blaming other people. Yeah, and that's a good thing. I like that, Andy. Yeah, to use the we might have overlooked this. This form needed to be submitted by this date. That shows ownership on your part, and sometimes that's just what we need. Just that little we, and then it softens the blow, right? Hashtag people pleaser. Yeah. Yes, but we can usually get things done because people want to work with us, right? All right. So then after we've considered our tone, perfect your formatting. And I don't mean you need to have the most beautiful perfect email in the world. In fact, those kind of show that we're robots, especially in the world of ChatGPT and Perplexity. It's okay to have an Easter egg in there or a typo. You just want to limit those and use spell check. All right. So you want to use the spell check. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry. So number one, make sure that your emails are not over 200 words. I noticed that came up in our Minty where we get paragraphs of instructions. So we don't know what to have. Now, when I started writing emails, and let me go back to this one because I want to show you something. This email here, you will notice on my response that it's broken up into smaller paragraphs. There's a reason for that. It's easier on our eyes as we read. There's been research done, and I don't have it to cite, but I've actually had colleagues go, do you mean to break this up in all these small lines? I go, absolutely, because it helps the reader move on to the next idea, and it also helps your eye. If I would have squished this into a little paragraph like this, I had to reread this several times to get the gist of the message, the gist of the message. Here, this flows easier because it's broken up. Feel free to do that. It helps your reader. It also sees, oh, this isn't some big, long, scary email. It's quick, to the point. All right, so let's go back. And let's see, the next thing is include main point first and then give context. A lot of times we don't get the context, or we'll just get the, the terrible forward. And we've got to fill in those gaps. And confirm that what the other person is asking of you, if it is unclear. Ask them the question, do you need me to do this? Did you mean that I need to do this, or whatever it may be? Ask them. Don't be afraid. Use spell check and grammar suggestions. However, do not rely fully on AI. Please don't put it in the ChatGPT and just have it spit out something and do the copy and paste. You can use that to gather ideas as a beginning point, but don't use it as an end point because it's going to take the human nature out of the email. Just like Kayla talked about, it's going to take the humanness out, and we don't want to sound like robots because we don't like getting emails from robots either. Yes, for clarity, restate something back that they said. So what I hear you saying, or what I think you mean is, and then summarize. That's a good point, Andy. Okay.
That's interesting. Colleagues asked about the multi-lines. I would prefer
Megan, I
that
can't
one
hear you
large
very
paragraph.
well. Is that my ear set or is it you? Hold on. Let me turn you up. Okay,
Is
what'd you
the
say?
mic too far? Someone
Yeah, I
else
think the
in the
mic's too
chat
far.
said, that's interesting. Colleagues asked about the multi-lines. I would prefer that one large paragraph. Large paragraphs make me hold my breath before I even start reading.
Okay, so you want the multi-lines, Courtney, or you want the paragraph? I think you mean you want the multi-lines. Yeah, the large paragraph. Yeah, multi-lines. Okay, I just want to make sure I understood that correctly. Yeah, the paragraph, I'm like, oh, I mean, we get them. Come on, you get them from your colleagues where it's 4 long paragraphs and you're like, okay, well, I guess I gotta, put my out of office on so I can get through this email. Good Lord. And I'll tell you, I'm the queen of skimming when I get those emails. I skim it. I'm guilty as charged. And one thing you can do is if you get those big emails, those multi-paragraph, pick up the phone and call them. Walk over to their desk. Send them a little message in Messenger and say, hey, do you have a second to chat? Whatever you can do so that you can get them on the phone. Sometimes all it takes is just getting somebody on the phone to alleviate something, then going back, searching months worth of emails, copying, pasting. Well, you said on December 28th that blah, 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 blah. We don't want a police report, right? We don't want them to feel guilty as charged. So a lot of times just picking up the phone will clear it up. And I want to tell you a quick story. I think I have time. Yes, I have time. I actually have a great colleague, Lori, and I told her I was going to tell you this story. One time, it was probably a year ago, but it still sticks with me because I realized what a jerk I was. Of course, I was stressed, feeling overwhelmed. Lori is an amazing human being. She helps me in so many ways with our faculty-centered emergency fund for students. We were emailing back and forth. I had submitted a form incorrectly, but I was handling 100 different things, and I didn't really want to hear that I'd handled this form incorrectly and thought that I had done it just fine. I emailed her back. I don't know what you're talking about. It looks fine to me, blah, blah, blah. She caught that snarkiness in that email, knew that it usually isn't me, gave me some grace. She called me right away. Ginger, I think we're miscommunicating here, or I wasn't clear. We solved it in 2 seconds, and I realized what a jerk I was being. And I so appreciate that. And because she did that for me, I find myself doing that more for others. Hey, I'll send them a quick text. Hey, I just noticed something on that email. You just saw your email. Do you have a couple of seconds to chat? That has solved so many fires for me. And I really hope that you all feel empowered to do the same. All right, talking out loud leaves room for faster follow-up, right? And that way we're not searching our email archives for an hour. Yeah, and written word, you're right, Christy. Written words can be taken wrong. It could be something completely different from what we meant. If you have a chance, go Google or on YouTube, find the Pee and Kill skit that I think I said it right. I think I said it. No, Pill and Keys skit on texting and their miscommunication and how each one of them was reading the text. It is, thank you, Courtney. Key and Pill text back and forth. It is hilarious. It's one of the best things I've ever seen, and I need to start sharing it with my students as well because it teaches you tone, that people take things differently, and there aren't those nuances in the written word that we have when we speak to each other. We can't hear their tone, read their body language, their inflection. Yeah, it's so good. It's so good. So, anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this. I wanted to give you time for any questions or to unmute yourself or share any horror stories to make us all feel better. Anything that you would like to do. And if you have any questions, Gracia is going to send you my presentation. Feel free to use it as you wish with your teams. If you want to take it back to your teams and use the different steps for the email tango, or, you know, how to handle those jerky emails that we receive or perceive as jerky. But thank you so much for your time. And I would love to open it up for you guys if you would like to unmute and share or just type something in the chat. Oh, thank you.
Well, I just wanted to throw out there that I actually really liked the thought where you said to keep the emails at a minimum of 200 words. We have to send program information to students all the time, and I know they don't read. Nobody reads. But that's something that I'm like, I'm gonna be mindful of that when I'm emailing now, to just kind of limit what I'm sharing.
You're so right, Courtney. And since you talked about sending things out to students, my son is 16 and he's starting to get those letters from colleges, and they're long. They're long. And he looks at it. He literally looks at it. I did it yesterday. He looked at it and he goes, I'm not reading all that.
Yes, yes.
I said, wait a second. This is University of Chicago. This is a great school. You're not going to read their letter? He's like, no, Mom, I'm not reading all that. And I said, okay, well, at least now I know. Thank you for sharing that.
Ginger, someone asked in the chat, what are your thoughts on hi, their name versus hey, their name? I was told hey may be deemed unprofessional in comparison to hi.
I don't think it's unprofessional. I just think it's more casual. If I know them, I'm gonna put I use a hi a lot, or I just put their name. Megan, can you help me with this? I really need your help. I would so appreciate it. I do it all the time. That's why she's smiling. But I don't think it's unprofessional. I just think you have a more casual relationship. And that's up to you to decide. They're your relationships.
Question, can you recap for me? So thinking back to the post about how somebody didn't direct somebody about doctor, right? And we know that was kind of crass or whatever.
Yeah.
Should we just say just like, hey, good morning? Or are you saying go ahead and just say, hey, good morning, Megan Meeker? And more than likely, they're not going to correct us that they're a doctor, or should we just leave it more general as good morning?
Well, that's a really good question, Christy. Are you able to see in their Outlook or anything what their position is or their title might be? Are you able to like hover over their name and see that?
And sometimes since I was actually in that position, I had to make table tents for a meeting one time. And I was told afterwards that everyone else had their doctor in front of them, but one person, and he was very upset. So I made a point going forward to make sure I look, but the way it is in our web advisors, what we use, it doesn't say that. So then I had to
Right.
go back to see, okay, let me see if they've ever emailed me. And then I just, ask questions, because I wasn't trying to be disrespectful, but
I don't think you are
sometimes it's
being
there and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not.
What I do notice some people do, which if anything, I'm going to be flattered, is they just call everybody doctor. And I usually will email back and I go, thank you so much. I wanted my doctorate, but I'm not a doctor.
Oh, laugh out loud. Okay.
So you
So
could do that.
go to the extreme.
Yeah, why not? Give everybody their doctorate. Doctorate for you. Doctorate for you. You get a doctorate. Just give them to everybody.
That's hilarious. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Anybody else want to share? You can share your traumas, right? Your email trauma. All right. Well, thank y'all so much. I don't know what happens. Do they dump y'all out of the room and we go back, or what happens?
Yeah, so at the end of the session at 1:30, it'll give us about 2 minutes to get back to the other room, and whoever can't make it back, it'll automatically move them back. And then we have closing and everything for a few minutes, and then we are all done.
Yeah. Okay. There's a leave room button. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate y'all letting me know. Yeah. I'm just not as comfortable with Zoom, y'all. So the leaving of the rooms, the entering the rooms, all of it. Thank y'all so much. I'm so flattered you guys were all here. Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Lisa. Thanks,
Thank you.
Andy.
And
Christy.
Ginger, some of
Yeah.
us were unable to get into break rooms. I was one who was sent in a little bit late. Is there any chance that your slides or just a bullet outline is available? I'll understand if that's property protected.
No, it's not property protected at all.
I just missed the first couple of slides.
Yeah, no, you can have it.
Okay, how
do you wanna here, I'll put my email. Let me put my email right now in the chat for everybody.
thank you so much.
I think it was on the first slide I had, but let me look. Okay. Yeah, and Gracia will send them to you as well, but if you just want to email me, I don't mind.
Okay.
I don't mind.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, anybody can email me. Yeah, just please email me because I'll forget to send it to you. I'm sorry, Christy. I will. All right. Thank you guys. Let's see how many. Thank you, Megan.
Thank you, Ginger.
This was fun. I was so nervous.
I don't know why. You're awesome.
Because well, you're sweet. So you know what it is? It's being on the screen and not in person.
Okay.
Because I'm so
That's
used to
great.
being in front of a crowd.
True.
And I can read body language and facial expressions and
For me, I would be more nervous in front of a crowd.
oh, I guess
I'm gonna chime in. This is Christy again. You did great.
Yeah.
what your topics, they were relevant because I've been in several situations where I'm like, ugh, and I needed to breathe and I fired it off. And then I was like, oh, retract. And it was too late, via an email. And so I think this was really good.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
because I've got to remember, like, again, not just with me, but with them as well. I don't know their body language. I can't hear their tone, and
Right.
it could be just a miscommunication.
Yeah. Yeah. Or,
This
or
was great.
like they fought with their teenager before they got to work, which happens to
Right.
me on a daily basis.
Oh, girl, I hear you. I hear you.
All right, I think it's about to kick us out. Just so everybody knows, it's not me. I'm not kicking anybody out. It's saying it's going to put us in the break room in just a second. So
All
I'm not
right.
kicking
Thank
you guys
you.
out. I loved having you.
First, we're going to give everyone a round of applause for actually attending and staying attentive and participating. The virtual world is hard, so just make sure that you pat yourself on the back. And we want to extend our thanks to each and every one of you for attending today's conference. Your presence truly enriched our discussions and contributed to the exchange of valuable insights. I hope you found the information shared to be informative and beneficial. Let's carry forward the knowledge that we've received today and continue to make meaningful strides in our respective fields. And of course, for our thank you all today for coming out. As a token of our appreciation, we will send everyone in attendance a certificate via email sometime next week will be the timeline, signed by our campus president. So feel free to post it on your LinkedIn or your social media platforms, because it is a great accomplishment that you are able to receive all this additional knowledge. And feel free to tag us, and feel free to share your opinions and takeaways also. Next, of course, last, we cannot end without your feedback. We care about your opinions, and by knowing what worked well and what didn't, we can make adjustments to better meet the needs and expectations of attendees next year. So we are committed to delivering a high quality experience for our participants. So if you please could just take a few moments and fill out the survey, the QR code, just scan the QR code and the survey should pop up. It should not take you more than just a few minutes. So if you all can take a moment and pull out your phones and scan the code, please. We would love to hear from you. Also, you're welcome to drop in the chat the takeaways from the last sessions that you just went to, your favorite part also. We would love to hear that. But we really, really want to hear back from you. So please, please, please fill out the survey. Okay, we'll get that taken care of, and also we'll drop it in an email, a follow-up email. If you're not able to actually obtain the survey now, access the survey, we will go ahead and send a follow-up email with that link so you all can do it once we get that fixed. And I do apologize about that.
It's fixed, Raquel.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah.
She got it. All right, and I'm going to let Gracia take over at this point to go ahead and recognize her committee and say words to them.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining. I do want to give you a few numbers. So at the peak, we hit 134. And if there are any viewing rooms in there, I did see Shasta College. You had about 4 or 5 in there. Please send me those numbers. We would love to incorporate all that into there. This is Gracia Talbot. I am the chair, but we have just an amazing committee. Thank you to my MC host. She wanted to say host instead of MC, Raquel Arsenault, Lee Shorter, or AKA Daniel. We have Alexandra. She also is the person that created the PDF where you will see all the speakers' bios and info for the sessions. She created that for us specifically, so awesome job. We have Jennifer Javier, Lori Taylor, Megan Meeker. Megan Meeker was the social media aficionado. She was the one that was posting on LinkedIn. So thank you for that. Michelle Umana sent you all the information to keep registering. And Terry Garcia which is here under the Title III grant. I work under the Title III grant here also. So thank you all so much. In addition, big special thanks to my boss, Kintry Ladie, Wendy Palmgren. She's our unsung hero, always updating the websites, fixing things. And again, our presenters. But last but never least, our OTS team. We have Brandon Thornhill, Jeffrey Rodriguez, Victoria. They are in the backgrounds, making sure that our connections are working because, as you all know, virtual conferences are not easy. So thank you all. Again, I do want to let you know, save the date for next year. Next year, it is going to be February 22nd. So it's going to be the last Friday of 2025. And so you can go ahead and mark that day off already. All of our HeapCons, our intended date is going to be the last Friday of February. And so you have time to plan. If you would also like to present, you are seeing some of the themes that are taking place today. If there's something you'd like to add or incorporate, last year, I believe we got a challenge from Kintry to, if you are looking to add presentation moderator to your resume, this is an amazing platform to do so. So please reach out to us and we would love to see what your ideas are. Again, it is important that you do the survey as it helps us align what the future goals are with the things that we do present going forward. There any questions, please let us know. Again, it's going to take a little bit for the recordings to become available because we will need to house them and then we will also need to edit them to make sure we're cutting front end and back and any pauses in between. So please be patient with that. Once we do have that, we will let you all know and we will more than likely house it on the HeapCon page. But again, thank you all so much for making this just an amazing, amazing event.
Thank you so much, Gracia. I'm sorry, Kintry, do you have any words of acknowledgements?
I was wanting to make sure that I address a question that I read in the comments.
Okay.
First, I want to say thank you. I was in the background just paying attention, trying to make sure there was no glitches, but someone asked, do you have to be a Lone Star College employee to present? No, no, no. We will welcome other presenters, especially when you find out what the theme is. You will, I know Gracia will send out an email as we get closer to the next conference about what the next theme would be. And if you have an innovative process that you have in any of those areas that you would like to share with not just Lone Star College, but as you see, with many states in the nation, including Canada, might I add. We were happy to see that New Brunswick, Canada was in HeapCon this year. And so if you are, wherever you are, if you would like to be a presenter of HeapCon, please let us know. We'll give you that opportunity to show us what you got.
Thank you so much, Kintry. Thank you very much. And again, we thank you all. We thank you for staying engaged. We thank you for keep coming back after all the breaks. And we thank you for actually signing up and attending. So thanks for showing up. And we appreciate you and all you do. And I'm going to go ahead and leave that QR code for anyone that may have missed it to go ahead and scan it and give me your feedback. And again, the last Friday in February of 2025, we will have HeapCon, and that's the 25th, right, Gracia?
No, February 21st. Sorry, I said the 22nd. You said 25th. Yeah, February 21st.
21st. So February
2/21/25.
Right. So 2/21/25. You can go ahead and open your Outlook or whatever calendar y'all use and block off that date and said, do not schedule anything. And remember to sign up and register to come to next year's conference. Again, we thank you all and y'all have a good rest of your day.